Hey, it's Paul from howtoplaybassdotcom. In today's lesson, we're going to look at I Feel Free by Cream, bassline played by Jack Bruce, of course. There are four basic sections to this: verse, chorus, and then there's two kind of 8-bar transitions where the lyric is I walk down the street but there's no one there, which are both different. Quite a fun song to play. Quite up tempo too. The original is a tempo of around 170, so although it's 8th note based, it is quite a brisk tempo, so a good one to use if you're working on extending your chops, extending your left and right hand coordination, a good test of that. Before we jump in to the verse, which is the first part of the song where the bass comes in, if you're not already a subscriber to my free monthly easing, click the link under the video, head over, find the tab that says free bass lessons, go and sign up. You'll get a free monthly tutorial in video and PDF format, which is exclusive to people who are subscribed. Plus there's also a sequence of video and PDF tutorials that you'll get over the next couple of weeks as a thank you for subscribing. So go and do that and then come back and we'll go and start the lesson by looking at the verse. The verse is a 12-bar pattern based around two chords, an E chord and then a D/E chord, and it's a kind of 2-bar pattern that repeats 6 times with some minor variations. Essentially you're playing something like this, which is E, 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 D, B, and notes, locations. E's the 7th fret of the A string, D's the 5th fret of the A string, B's the 5th fret of the A string. Now, as I said, that's the kind of basic feel of the pattern. But there are little variations you can throw in. You can go from the B back to the D. And there's a variation at the start where I'm playing E, 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 and then going down to B and back to E, and that's the E that's held over the first bar line. So it's that kind of pattern, and as I say, you can throw in those little variations. Verse pattern, pretty much you play on that kind of thing, put in some variations. If you listen to the original, there's a 3-note kind of stab lead-in to the verse, which is from B, D, and E. Again, note locations we already know. 7th fret of the E string for B, 5th fret of the A string for D, 7th fret for E. And those are the 3 pickup notes that bring you in to the verse pattern itself. Now the verse pattern then goes on to the chorus pattern, and we'll look at that as the next section. Okay, the chorus pattern is a 12-bar section, and it moves in 2-bar chords. You get 2 bars of D, 2 bars of E, and just repeats that. And the basic kind of pattern we want to play is let's look at that first, because if you just played that pattern, pretty much you'd be fine, apart from the very last 2 bars, which out of the chorus leads to the verse, which has the kind of the stabs and the lyrics walk down the street. We'll look at that in a second. So this basic pattern: D, octave D, C, A, back to D, and you've just got those notes. You've got the low D, 5th fret of the A string, octave D, 7th fret of the G string, C at the 5th fret of the G string, and A at the 7th fret of the D string. So you kind of get this. moves up a step to go from the D chord to the E chord. That's the basic pattern, and again, if you just played that, and just played that through the chorus, that would get you through the chorus without any problems, apart from, as I said, that last two bars which transitions to the next section. But Jack puts in some nice little variations. So if we walk from the start of the chorus, we've got the riff we've already looked at, goes up to E, which should go through those locations. E, 7th fret of the A string, octave E, 9th fret of the G string, D, 7th fret of the G string, and B, 9th fret of the D string. So it's exactly the same pattern, just moved up a step or a tone. So it plays that pattern. Then we're going to go back down to D. And a nice little variation thrown in there. Instead of going straight back up to the octave, you play one note on the low note. We step up to E. Variation in these two bars. The variation in that bar is we don't get the held note over the bar line, so we're playing, and we're leaping instead straight to the octave. We're back down to D. And again, a repeat of that pattern where the we play the low note after the held note. Just play through that. And then the last time through, we're aiming to set up the transition to the walk down the street section. So we go back to a pattern that's similar to the verse for the E chord. And then that E there would be the first note of walk down the street. So what we're going to play in those two bars, so it's E, 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 D, B, E, 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 D, B, and then you've got your low E, which is your stab. You should know the note locations. E, the 7th fret of the A string, D, the 5th fret of the A string, B, the 7th fret of the E string. So that is the chorus. The second time through the chorus section, it's kind of a solo section, and there's no vocals over it. That leads us to the next section, which is kind of like an 8-bar tag before the verse comes back in, and where the lyric is walk down the street but there's no one there. So let's go look at that section. Okay, this walk down the street section, as you heard, is just a syncopated section. Basically, you've got an open E, which is a 2-bar pattern played 4 times. You've basically got an open E that stabs at the first beat of the first pattern, and then you've got some combination of this riff where you're playing down from E to get back to that open E. So we'll just go through the notes, and then we'll go through each of the variations that Jack does on that riff. So first of all, you've got the open E is the stab. Then we've got E, D, B, A, G. So you've got 7, 5, 7th and 5th frets of the D strings, of the A string for E and D, 7th and 5th frets of the E string for B and A, and then 3rd fret for the G natural, and then you're back to the E. So the first time through you get this 2, 3, 4. Okay, then the second time through we've got an extra offbeat E before that riff, so you get this for the second time through 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you've got the extra one there. The third time through we go back to the original where there's no extra notes thrown in, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then the fourth time through, we're going to transition back to the verse, and there's an extra E on the and of beat 4 of the first bar of the 2-bar pattern, and on the and of beat 1. So I'm going to play that section and go into the verse. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice when we go into the verse pattern that this time, because we're down here, because we played this and we're down there, that open E, the E follows that from the previous 3 times. We're going to use that E as the first note of the verse pattern. And go into the verse pattern up there and just use a displacement of that E to allow us to get our hand back to there. Now there's just one more part to look at, and that's where we get this kind of walk down the street stab verse again the second time. But the second time through it's a little harder because the chords change and there's a little bit of harmonic variation going on, so each time that run changes each time through the second time round. So let's go and look at that section and we can put everything together and you'll be able to play through the tune. Okay, so you just heard that the last time through, and I put in the 2-bar lead in to get to that stab to show you where it fits in context. So it's this 8 bars starts off with the stab on the open E string again, but then we've got this run, which is C, B flat, G, G, F, low B flat. So C, 5th fret of the G string, B flat, 3rd fret of the G string, 2 Gs, the 5th fret of the D string, or you could play the open G, F at the 3rd fret of the D string, down to B flat, 1st fret of the A string. Then the next bar, you've got this pattern, which is B flat, B flat, A flat, F, E flat, F, A. And you're playing the 2 B flats at the 3rd fret of the G string, A flat at the 1st fret of the G string, F at the 3rd fret of the D string, E flat at the 1st fret of the D string, back to F at the 3rd fret, then to the open A. Then the next pattern, which is A, 2nd fret of the G string, open G, E, 2nd fret of the D string, open D, C, 3rd fret of the A string, and then F at the 1st fret of the E string. And then you've got this pattern, which is F, F, E flat, D, C, A, D. Note locations: F, F, 3rd fret of the D string, E flat, 1st fret of the D string, D, open D string, C, 3rd fret of the A string, open A, D. That D's held, then you've got this final run, which is D, D, C, A, G, F, and then you're back into the verse pattern. Those note locations: D's 5th fret of the A string, C's the 3rd fret, open A, G at the 3rd fret of the E string, F at the 1st fret of the E string. And then you can start the verse with the open E string like we did before, and then jump up. And you'll be back into the normal kind of format. Now that section's the hardest section of the tune, and it kind of feels a bit strange when you first learn and go through it. But if you listen to the original, or listen to the play along I did at the start of this section with the band in a box tracks, it should start to make sense, and I've spelt the notes out, so you should be able to get through it. And then all you need to do is put the 4 sections together in the appropriate places, and you have to play through the song. There is a roadmap to help you on the I Feel Free song page on the website, so you can go over there and check that out if you need to. Other than that, you should have the stuff you need to play through the song. Don't forget Cream, kind of improvisatory kind of a band, so you've got the basic patterns for the verse and the chorus. But pardon the pun, feel free to experiment with some variations on the verse pattern particularly and the chorus pattern. Both of those patterns you can play some variations on, and the two walk down the street sections need to be played pretty much as is. But those sections, learn those sections, and you should be able to get through this song, play along with the original, or play it along with your band at a rehearsal or a jam, or even better, a gig.